Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
Okay, today we have Jenn Santoso with us, and Jenn is a organizational development specialist. So Jenn, it's great to have you on. You have worked in the commercial real estate world and kind of moved on to your own business in organizational development. So great to have you. Can you just give us a little history of how you got to where you are now?
Absolutely. Briefly, I was born and raised in the Bay Area, traveled a good bit as a child, which expanded my worldview. Ended up going to the University of California, San Diego for cognitive science. And that does align with my travel in terms of an expanded perspective of people. After that, I landed in management consulting, facing the Department of Defense for about 15 years, learned a ton, was in an environment that was very different than my native experience as a child / young person. Really rounded me out and gave me lots of opportunity to dip into various facets of organizational development, such as process design, leaning organizational design, restructure and strategic advisory, to leadership in the Department of Defense. And then I took that leadership bit, went to San Diego Gas and Electric and did OD, organizational development training for 5 years. In parallel, I also was a member of and co-led a Vistage Trusted Advisors group of small business owners and self-employed folks, and started from scratch a real estate investing meetup focused on multifamily syndication and grew it to 1,000 people. And I've since moved on from it because I've grown out of it. Got some exposure to commercial real estate finance, which gave me the context to where I am today, doing leadership development consulting, facing commercial real estate clients with a niche with property managers.
Wow, that is quite a history. I'm just curious, can you give us a little inkling of what it was like to work for the Department of Defense, particularly in organizational development? That must have been fun and very interesting.
Oh my gosh, that's a fantastic question. Every environment's different, every team's different, and I think we could most commonly extrapolate that there's a thick hierarchy and somewhat rigid way of doing things, and there's a reason for that. The standards have to be standardized. Performance needs to be standardized, but the movement's a little bit slow. And so doing the work I was doing was really more about relationships and getting an opportunity to do the work. But once I did get that opportunity, stuff escalated. So I was able to have a lot of influence when I was able to get it.
Well, I'm sure there's obviously the chain of command, and as the ranks go down, you have to follow the chain of command, which to some degree is counter to what I would think of as normal organizational development consulting.
Absolutely. Hit the nail on the head.
No, okay, all right. So then you go to the power company in San Diego, and that's probably a little bit similar, but maybe you got to do a little more work there in terms of what organizational development does.
Correct. So over at SDG&E, the hierarchy was there. It didn't feel as intense because there was in addition to the structure, there's always a feeling to it, if not, consider the culture. So it was a softer culture. There was more open communication. They were more open to various ideas, and I was focusing on training. So the cool part was that I was able to train people from every single department across the company. This includes electric, gas, folks who are climbing poles and digging ditches, all the way to customer service, to tech, to, AI development and whatnot.
Wow. So did you ever get down into the nitty-gritty of actually consulting a particular person on, say, giving them a 360 and so forth?
I didn't do the 360s specifically. There were people in my department that did, although I did teach the interpersonal and leadership skills that would influence somebody's 360 evaluation.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So then you weren't sort of directly consulting an individual, but you were kind of helping the whole group work together.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that had to be very rewarding. I'm sure you saw some incredible results from that kind of consulting work.
It was very rewarding. So, with the transition between the Department of Defense management consulting and being an in house leadership development trainer, it was a huge mental shift to be in house, first of all, instead of an outside consultant that I'd been for 15 years. And otherwise, I found it on the surface not very intellectually challenging, although there was still a lot of value. Leading classes of 8 to, let's say, 150 people at a time
Wow.
really gave me the opportunity, and 1 to 4 times a week really gave me the opportunity to sharpen my confidence, my speaking, and to be able to turn on a dime.
So, okay, so now let's leap to the real estate world. What was the sort of transition there? What did you find? Were you actually working in the finance side of the equation and not in the organizational development side?
Correct. Right. So when I made my transition to the commercial real estate world or industry, I was really seeking something with a more raw capitalistic feel. So naturally, with the Department of Defense and a utility, you've got, more of a governmental public sector thing happening. And I wanted to experience capitalism in a rawer form. So there comes commercial real estate finance. It was a fantastic lesson and exposure in the life cycle of commercial real estate with respect to finance.
Yeah, no, I suspect, well, did you, I mean, certain firms, I don't know about the ones you worked for, but certain firms in the real estate world can be very aggressive, very proactive, very much on the close approach. So I don't know if that's what you experienced, but I suspect that was completely different from kind of the public sector approach.
Hit the nail on the head.
Okay. Yeah. I can only imagine the difference there. Was that a bit of a shock to your system?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a glutton for punishment in that sense because I'm always wanting to challenge myself. I'm always wanting to grow new skills. I'm a lifelong learner.
Yeah. So now you've decided to go back out on your own and kind of consult individual companies. So how are you marketing yourself?
It's all organic growth, organic business development. I'm very close in an organization called CRE in San Diego. So Commercial Real Estate Women, which is global, mostly nationwide, and I'm affiliated with the San Diego chapter. For me, CRE has been pivotal. I feel like these women are extended family, truly. I have never in my life encountered such a high frequency of sweet, remarkable, intelligent, hardworking, and good-hearted people. So not only do I feel very connected to the organization, but it's been instrumental in helping me get my current leadership development business off the ground.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I think I don't know Crew personally, obviously, but that sounds like a fantastic group to be associated with, particularly given the kind of dog eat dog world of commercial real estate. To find a group like that sounds like a very good area to kind of work with and find new people and find new leads. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's been a blessing.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are obviously a bunch of groups out there similar to that, provisors and business referral groups and so forth and so on. But I'll have to look up Crew. I'm not familiar with that one. Sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So what do you see in the future? How do you think those?
Great question. Okay, so in terms of future outlook, obviously the world is just changing under our feet and before our eyes.
Yeah.
And me being, a mental models person
Hmm.
and a people oriented person and on the change management bell curve, which I think a lot of us are familiar with, whether we know it or not. I have always been an early adopter slash early mid, depending on what it is, but I lean towards early adopter. I think change is good. I see the opportunity in it. I'm not naive to ignore the difficulty and discomfort around it. That's very real for every single one of us. Um, I think it's important for us to focus on the opportunity and how we can positively shape what's next, right? Holding on to what's uncomfortable and difficult can be natural. It can be intuitive for some of us, but it's not the healthiest thing in terms of creating and taking ownership of what's next. And also, with respect to leadership development or organizational development, there are so many positive psychological and interpersonal elements in that field. I consistently believe that all of those skill sets are still needed moving forward, regardless of how much tech and or AI continues to evolve.
Oh, and there we go. The famous AI question. Are you using AI at this point?
Absolutely, I'm using AI. I think it's a little bit easier to use AI being in a maybe kind of like a Bachelor of Arts equivalent or an arts equivalent versus a science equivalent field
Hmm.
because my delivery isn't black and white, right? So, and even the content isn't black and white. It's a little bit more subjective. It is research based, and I use my cognitive neuroscience background to fold that in too. But the key is in the delivery and the connection with the people. So, therefore, my ability to use AI is a genuine help. But it's not as much of a hindrance as it could be for a field that is more black and white, if that makes sense.
No, I think that's interesting because I want to know, say you get in a particular situation and you have your sort of standard way of responding to this situation, but do you go to AI and say, hey, what would you suggest in this situation? And maybe it comes up with some other answers that you hadn't thought of?
Absolutely. And I definitely use it as a conversational piece.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So a back and forth piece, but
Yeah.
just with yourself and not with the client, or
Just with myself to
yeah.
create a foundation of what's going to be presented or talked about. And
Mhm.
I absolutely exercise my own judgment on what's being provided. And I think most all of us do if we're using AI correctly.
Yeah, no, you have to. I mean, even if you're having to edit an email, you still have to look at the email and say, is this really how I might say this? So anyway, I think it's a great tool used correctly, and it sounds like you're having a good time with that. Are
Mhm.
you using chat or what bot do you tend to use?
Great question. I am using ChatGPT, although I think my sister would not be too happy with that. She works at Google and she's working
Oh,
on Gemini. I do. Kathy, good to connect with you if you're listening to this. I do use Gemini every now and then, and I like to compare what comes out of both. And on the AI slash leadership development front, I do work with Parsley 360. It's a startup. It's an empathetic AI tool. And the value is to bring the frequently unspoken feelings, thoughts, and emotions and morale pieces of a larger organization up to the executives so that they can have more informed decision making.
oh wow. What was the name of that one?
Parsley 360.
Parsley as in the food?
Exactly.
Oh wow. I'll have to look that one up. I
Mhm.
had not heard of that one. Parsley 360. That is
Mhm.
fantastic. All right. So I think we've covered the territory. Is there something I've missed?
Um, I would just like to toss out, I think with every practitioner, subject matter expert and up, so to speak. Most all of us are very confident at what we do, and the differentiation is in the style and the connection with the client. So I'll toss out that I love to make a real, authentic, and fun connection with my clients. In addition to, nerding out, right, with the material. But I think the clients that like me the most / I like the most are the ones where we can have so much fun and a very positive energy exchange amongst the material.
That sounds like the perfect connection. I'm going to use that, if you don't mind, the fun and authentic connection. I love that. I think we all strive for that sort of work environment, but it doesn't always happen. So then we have to struggle and figure out what to do to try and bring it into that area.
Yeah. I love that resonated with you. And I think for me, when I connect with my fun and authentic side, it sets the tone, and then the room opens up in that fashion.
No, I think that's so true. Yeah, if you get people kind of closing in on you and it's not fun, and all those anger things come out, it's just makes life very difficult to try and work with. But
yeah,
anyway.
No one wants that.
No one wants that.
No.
Well, this has been fun, Jen. Where can people get a hold of you?
So my email, Jennifer@vastleader.com. That's JENNIFER @VASTLEADER.com. Phone number 858-280-9191.
So Jen with two N's. Just
Jen with two N's, exactly.
Yeah, remember that. So great to have you on. I look forward to talking to you again down the road here.
Love it. Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. Appreciate it, Bruce.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.